trunks with the white and black trim. He also scaled 9 stone, 8 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, a perfect one. 10 fights, 10 victories, one of them coming by way of knockout. Here is the undefeated southpaw. He fights out of Liverpool, Willis.
Okay, boys, for cold break, take a step back. Don't throw any punches around the back of the head and protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up. Good luck, lads.
I think we've got Bull versus Matador here, and you're looking at the Matador on your screen. In Luke Willis, Rylan Charlton with his heavily muscled back just in the opposite corner, in the black trunks trimmed with white. 10 threes. English lightweight title eliminator, currently held by Myron Mills. Beat Kane Baker for it November 2019, defended against Lucas Ballingall, and Hurstbeards have gone out for his defence of the belt against Hamed Gaz that has to be concluded by the end of this week coming. So the winner of this contest moves one step closer to the English title.
Straight away we can see the quick feet from Willis, getting out of range easy. So he's going to have to remain patient, Charlton. Can't get frustrated.
Spoke to his team. Alex, beg your pardon, Naylor earlier on this week. He said no doubt that he knows he's going to be missing a little bit early and maybe pot-shotted, but he's ready for that. He's expecting that, and he won't be getting frustrated in that eventuality. Willis is quick going backwards, isn't he?
Very, very quick. Creates angles really well. Really believes in himself. Willis, see, they're always poised to get out of range and get out of trouble. Mixes up the levels well with the jab and the left hand, head and body. Doesn't waste an awful lot. Says he punches harder than his record suggests. Good right hook from Willis as Charlton fell over his front foot there.
His team have assured me that Charlton hasn't lost any punch power. How will his resistance be down at 135? First time either of them have made the championship weight. Willis just baiting her with that wide, was counter-punching southpaw stance, looking for check right hooks on the way, and hasn't thrown anything yet, but just waiting for it. Now he lands it, and you can see him looking for it in the last minute or so. Charlton kept the hand side, but just walking on to a couple of straight shots and wide hooks on the way in so far.
Good boxing from Willis, really sharp reactions, coming back with 3 lovely shots there. Always looking to counter Willis. Doesn't waste anything. Makes you fall over your front foot, makes you do something silly, and then make you pay for it. Controlling the distance and the range there. Looking for that left hand. Good positive start, but we know Charlton can punch. He will remain patient, and I think this is his fight. As it goes on, he'll be thinking.
Sharp start from the Merseyside fighter, all in red. 10 seconds to go in this opening round. As we predicted, it would be Bull and Matador, but the Matador has walked the ball onto some sharp singles in those first 3 minutes, and just a little bit of reddening above the right eye of Rylan Charlton. He came into this carrying a shiner underneath his right eye as well. So if you see that, that isn't from this contest. That was clearly from some late sparring in the last, I presume, 7 to 8 days.
Yeah, good boxing on the back foot from Willis there. Makes Charlton fall over that front foot and lands 3 really sharp shots.
Actually, just looking at the replay there, I think a couple of them actually just fell a little bit short, and from where we were as he stepped in, he had his back to us. It looked like they landed clean, but certainly landed a couple of straight shots down the middle early, and his timing and range, he seems to have found them the quicker of the two. But that's what we expected in this contest, and it's what Rylan Charlton's team expected as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they'll be hoping that they can drag this into a dogfight as the fight goes on, but for Willis, that was a nice positive start, and exactly how he and we thought would approach the fight.
Well, he had only 9 days prep for Ricardo Fernandez in Barcelona on his return, and that ended up being a pretty attritional fight at times. That was his first fight under Steve Harkin on the Sandor Martin and Kay Prosper undercard. Martin, of course, in the fight of his life next weekend against Mikey Garcia in Fresno. That's on DAZN. Around the world, lots to look forward to in the schedule in the coming weeks around the world.
Struggling to close the gap. Charlton, Willis moving really, really well. Very quick on those feet. He's got him backed up there. He's unlucky. Shades of Billy Joe Saunders from Willis there, as Charlton missed with the big wide left hook.
Just winning the battle of the front foot at the moment. Willis just getting it on the outside more regularly, just able to bring himself onto shots and makes life easier to just exit off that as well. The edging foot speed is with him.
Lovely left to the body there from Willis. Takes a left hook though from Charlton. Switched off for a second there, Willis.
Yeah, and Charlton just lengthened the hook up, didn't he? And just left that down the middle from the Liverpool fighter. Things just starting to heat up a little bit here.
We've seen Willis land the backhand, the left hand to the body of Charlton. I think that's something that Charlton needs to do. Try and work the body and come upstairs as he does there. Really leans back on that back foot, Willis. So it's going to be very difficult to land that right hand to the chin. So he's better off working upstairs from the body first.
Charlton just trying to edge his way in, get that foot on the outside. He walks into a stiff lead hand.
Willis was telling me outside the hotel that he goes, trust me, don't worry, I can punch. He goes, I've yet to show it yet. I've yet to really set my feet and let the shots go. But when I do, I'm really, really, spiteful and hurtful. So
he's certainly not in the rhythm of a man that hasn't, well, he's boxed once in 2.5 years. He looks like he's been out regular and often.
Yeah, he's found his timing and distance early on in this fight. Good looping left hand there on the top of the head of Charlton.
Making a miss and seeing that left foot coming from a long way off so far. Getting back to centering, wide base, good balance, poised for the counter at all times. Charlton just cuts the left hook over the top, landed, but not with any real force as Willis just comes back with a straight left hand.
Yeah, if you're Charlton and your game is to try and get this fight into the later rounds and turn it into a dogfight, you've still got to try and put a dent in your opponent early on. You've got to try and make them. There's a good left hand from Willis right on the bell there. Yeah, you have to try and put a dent and try and wear your opponent down. So when you do get to those later rounds, you can really get to work and land the shots at will. So he just needs to try and close that gap and let his hands go a bit more. But that was a good straight left from Willis to the body. But switched off for a second there, led back, and Charlton found the left hook, but took the sting out of the shot nonetheless, Willis. But a nice reminder that Charlton's in this fight and he will be looking for those big shots.
He's going to have to throw that left hook nice and long, just the way that Willis falls back and drifts around to his right-hand side. It's not going to be easy to catch on the turn. And Charlton hasn't got the longest arms. It was impressive the way that he just walked through Joe Law. It was about 18 months or so ago now. Laws had been kind of built up. I don't know whether unfairly, but Charlton was a bit of an underdog going into that contest. I remember speaking to Conor Benn in the build-up, and he said, I think he might walk through him, and that's exactly what happened. Conor, of course, on the broadcast team with us here in Liverpool tonight from 7 o'clock on DAZN around the world.
Good jab from Willis on the outside there. Like you said, he's winning the battle of the front foots at the minute, Willis. And that enabled him to find that nice crisp jab on the outside of the stance of Charlton. Good left hand. No real spite or power in the shot, but very accurate with it. Moving well both sides, Willis. Not in one direction, makes it difficult to land the shots. Charlton needs to try and work that body a bit more, straight down the middle. Got to try and put a dent in Willis. Has to close that gap. Struggling a little bit at the minute.
Every time Willis gets backed up onto the ropes, he tends to exit to his right-hand side, but his feet are so quick and his balance, every time Charlton even inches towards him, just takes that half a step back and maintains the gap. Just catches him with quick singles before resetting and making Charlton turn and have to reset himself. Frustrating for Charlton through 2.5 rounds.
Yeah, he's boxing nice, Willis. Really, really sharp in this round. Good change in the levels. Head and body. Again, not getting greedy, not giving the opportunity for Charlton to land those shots. He just misses with the left hook there. He needs to start closing that gap. Working the body a bit more. Chin coming high of Willis there. Needs to get that down a bit, but picking the shots really, really well.
You could argue as well that what he has been caught with on the way in is clearly enough to keep his attention, because otherwise we know he's physical enough to march through guys that aren't physically as strong as he is. But whatever he's being hit with by Luke Willis so far has got his attention. And Charlton has struggled to close the gap as we count the seconds down here in round number 3. Another stiff left hand just scooped up through the middle.
Yeah, just controlling the distance so well. We're getting backed up, Willis, but moving with ease, both left and right. Like to see him just work back to the centre of the ring a bit more, allow some space behind him, but very comfortable on the back foot, picking the shots well. Charlton just has to let his hands go a bit more, at one pace at the minute. This is where he wants his man. But again, good exit from Willis, out of that corner, back to the centre of the ring. Smart boxing.
And finding the exits easily so far. Got him 3 rounds up, Darren?
Yep. Yeah, nice tidy boxing from Willis at the minute. Boxing nicely on the back foot, moving really quickly. Not a great deal of power in those shots, but very quick and accurate, and he'll be feeling those. Charlton, they do take their toll. He just needs to work that body a bit more and try and close that gap, work the body, try to slow that movement down of Willis, who at the minute is boxing really nicely and looking comfortable.
Round 4.
So into the 4th, can Rylan Charlton land something that swings momentum in his direction? He's really been able to so far. Willis has had things all his own way, just leans off to his right-hand side, just screws a lead right hook into the ribs of Charlton, who's at centre ring. Just was mesmerised by the feints and the lead hand work of Luke Willis, who just showed the edge in hand and foot speed through these first 3 rounds or so.
Look, I've said it tons of times in the past, and it won't be the last time I say it. You know, sometimes a fighter's best asset can be their worst. You know, Charlton trying to look for the big shot too often, where he doesn't need to do that. He just needs to try and soften Willis up, work the body, 2s and 3s, and work back upstairs, where he's just opting for the big shot, and someone with the reaction and the foot speed that Willis has, it's the wrong tactic. Good left hand to the body, picking the shots really well. Been impressed with the changes of levels from Willis. Just looks comfortable. He's got to close that gap, Charlton, and when he gets there, let his hands go. Forget about looking for the big shot.
The blueprint, of course, was there in the Florian Marku fight, who really got rid of his ego at 147. We thought they might stand and trade. He did at points, but decided to kind of step off, and he too switched to southpaw on occasions, but he really did box Charlton from the outside, walked him onto combinations and just exposed 1 or 2 limitations. Perhaps that was the key to Luke Willis's preparation, watching that fight, realising that, well, this is what I do, this is my bread and butter. And, well, he's put the game plan into perfection. I dare say so far even better than Florian Marku did, just making Charlton miss with these wide left hooks and not allowing him to get set for the big punches. We know he's heavy-handed, and they did say he's not going to be loading up on shots, but I think he's almost felt out of range for so much of the contest. And when he takes that half a step into range, by the time he's even thought about throwing, he's been pot-shotted, and Willis is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, he literally took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say this is his bread and butter. This is exactly what he does. This is the sort of fight that he likes and he enjoys, and fights that he's used to. So for him right now, he'll just continue to keep doing what he's doing. For Charlton, he's got to make some adjustments now. He's got to try and work the body, got to try and slow Willis down, try and get him, pin him into the corner or on the ropes, because, I mean, like we've just touched on, this is exactly the sort of fight that Willis enjoys and is used to.
We just saw the overhead shot for a few seconds there. I think that's almost the perfect illustration. If you were to watch around from that position, you'd be able to see the difference between the pair of them. But Charlton just got through with the right hand there.
That's better from Charlton. Found the target with the right hand. I think there was a couple of straight shots to the body first, and he come upstairs with the right hand. So a reminder to Willis, you can't stay backed onto the ropes too long. Keep moving, keep that distance behind you. But encouraging signs for Charlton just at the end there, something to grab hold of and take into the next round and the remainder of the contest.
A brief hiatus after the Marku fight. He trained elsewhere, but he's back with Frank Siktornis in his corner. It could be on his advice that he's able to turn this fight around. But we suspect through the first four that he is 4-0 down. He can't afford to give away too many more rounds here. Rylan Charlton as Luke Willis in cruise control so far. Just touches with that southpaw lead hand, whips the left hook round the side of the guard. Charlton just trying to increase the tempo of the feet, trying to make that space smaller, trying to get himself in range, but again Willis just treading on his front foot, leading off and stepping out of range. So fleet-footed. If he can keep this up for 10 rounds, you suspect he may even make easy work of this thing. Uppercut through the middle. Charlton landed a right hand over the top though. Just getting closer for the first time. Left hook, right hand. This is the breakthrough perhaps that Charlton needed, but they knew in this moment it would be about how Luke Willis responded when they did land. Merseyside just for the first time in the contest, and it's taken 4.5 rounds to get there. He's just felt the power and the force of Rylan Charlton.
Yeah, he's getting there, he's closing the gap now, isn't he? It's a bit more education, just as I say here.
Commentators can answer.
Yeah, but
he was closer to you with that right hand.
Yeah, but generally started a bit smarter in this round, closing the gap, moving his head, jabs to the body, coming back with the right to the head, but just loading up a couple of times there, just as I said it.
Whatever Siktornis said to him, he has started to go up through the gears here, Charlton, and that space just suddenly looks a little bit smaller. And Willis is just having to think a little bit faster. Lovely lead left hand though from the Merseysider.
If it was the cousin or the uncle of Siktornis, I used to spar with him down at the Repton. The long line of his family were spent down the Repton Amateur Boxing Club.
Yeah, that's how they met in the amateurs. Charlton and Frank Siktornis boxing. I think Dan Naylor as well, boxing for England, and there was a call between the pair of them. He said, I've got a good young lad here, I want you to manage him, and I think we can move him well. And they have done so far. It's not been an easy fight, and he's not in one now.
He started the round really well, Chris, but he's just gone and resorted back to loading up a little bit and making it too easy for Willis. Needs to get back to throwing the jab to the body. Good movement from Willis again.
Well, you'd say a better round that for Rylan Charlton, but certainly still not all his. Just caught Luke Willis in the early stages of the round with 2 or 3 shots up close. Just starting to force the pace a little bit more. He knows he has to. He knows he's still got time. That's the right hand over the top. Willis landed his fair share of leather in those previous 3 minutes as well. And as you say, Charlton just starting to get a little bit gung-ho, load up and miss as he was in previous rounds. But something to hang on to at least for him.
Yeah, I think, look, he landed the right hand, and it was more due to the fact that Willis opted to sort of stay on the ropes a little bit too long, and that allowed Charlton to have some success. So Willis will have to get back on his bike, keep moving, keep being smart. But Charlton has to close that gap, try and back Willis into the corner and let his hands go. Stop looking for the big one shot, because he will miss every time.
Just for the first time in the contest, we're starting to see Willis hold when he gets onto the ropes. Not quite as easy to find the exits left and right.
More intent from Charlton. Really closing that gap. Lots of pressure with the front foot now.
He's falling short with his attacks, isn't he?
Got a jab to the body. Oh, good left hand from Willis. Beautiful shot.
1-2 down the middle, and he looks for the exit again. And time again, Charlton just wins that long left hook in. He's only landed it once or twice in the whole contest.
So quick with his feet, both directions. Really sharp. I'd like to see him circulate back to the centre of the ring a bit more. Always on the outskirts of the ring. Always want to try and allow space behind you. But Willis comfortable on the back foot. Just opts to keep on the outskirts, like I say, of the ring. Behind that jab, quick hand, good variation. The backhand to the body. Just misses with a left uppercut there. Beautifully timed shot though. Narrowly misses.
I mean, that's the wide shot there at home. You can see the footwork of Luke Willis, but when you're watching it live, you can just see the number of micro adjustments he's making every single second with his feet that are just offsetting the balance of Rylan Charlton, not allowing him to get close. And he's always set to throw, Willis. But he's making sure that Charlton, even when he walks forward, tries to get into range, is off balance, and that's making it very hard for him to let his hands go, which is what he clearly wants to do. He's ripping to the body.
That's better, Chris.
Anything that he can at the moment.
Yeah, that was better from Charlton. He threw a left to the body and come back upstairs. That's what you've got to do. Try and set traps. Try and get the reaction, the arms down, and then come back upstairs. There's some marking to the left eye of Willis, who takes a right hand again.
Yeah, right on the welt, just below the left eye of Willis. As you said it. Really the power in evidence, but Charlton just showing a few little marks of battle as well.
Good short right hook from Willis on the back foot. But better from Charlton, starting to close that gap more. Yeah, it was a good left hand. Good 1-2 at the beautiful shot. Rocked the head back of Charlton. Wasn't a great deal of power in it, but very accurate, very quick. Stopped him in his tracks for a second, but Charlton was starting to close the gap a bit more. But Willis again moving with ease, looking comfortable, looking composed. Only really getting caught when he switches off. But there was signs of improvement there from Charlton. He did throw that lovely long left to the body, then dropped another shot to the body and come upstairs with the right hand.
But you just feel at this stage of the contest, as we head into round number 7, that Charlton really is He's going to have to rely on something happening to Luke Willis here. He's going to have to either land something of real consequence, or Willis is going to have to blow up in a way that there's no indication that he's going to. Because the precision, the balance, the timing, the foot speed as it is now, it's hard to see him turning this fight on its head, but he's trying and he's willing himself forward. We know he has the power.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans, judges, etc. will like the aggression from fighters, but you have to also pay respect and credit the lovely fluid movement of Willis, who picks the shots really well. And there's two types of fighters, you know, there's come forward fighters and there's boxers, there's movers, and Willis boxes very well on the back foot. This is his bread and butter, like we've touched on. This is the way he boxes. Very comfortable on the back foot, picks the shots really well, takes a left hook there.
Well, Charlton's been looking for that all night. He only landed one early, but he found one with a decent bit of clout there. And, well, Luke Willis's feet was quick enough. He clearly felt that. And there's a decent bit of time in the round here, and just maybe Rylan Charlton will sense the man in front of him. He's felt his power for the first time in the contest. Wings over with a big right hand, but telegraphed it too much. Willis saw it coming. Charlton doesn't want momentum to slip away. He walks into a big left hand in the process of hunting Willis down.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, Willis will not have to go looking for Charlton, who's going to be right in front of him, so will find the target when he lets his hands go. That was a beautiful left hand from Willis. Charlton again getting wild with those right hands, missing by a mile, so he needs to jab to the body first and work back upstairs.
Well, they said yesterday the plan was not to get frustrated if they were down a few rounds early, but the issue is, Darren, as this fight creeps on, frustration it is inevitable, because he will feel the fight slipping away from him, and he'll know that those moments where he has success are few and far between, and he's got to capitalise on them. But that's been the story of the fight, really. Loading up on power shots, swinging and missing. And Willis frustrating him, just pot-shotting, moving around the outside and just dictating the vast majority of the rounds, and riding out minor patches of discomfort.
Doing well to tire Charlton as well when they're inside, stopping Charlton from working. See, Willis missed an opportunity there to let his hands go. Just opted to move straight back. He had Charlton backed on. He could have let a few shots go before he moved there, but just happy to get back on his bike. Good work from Charlton, who's letting his hands go, missing again with that left hook.
And the frustration of hitting thin air, but also the fatigue that it causes. That was the long left hook. He leant back as he has been doing throughout the contest, but caught him right under the jaw. But moments later, he walked Charlton into a stiff, straight shot, and he was hunting him down, and he just rode out that mini crisis, if you can even really call it that. We're kind of really clutching at straws for Charlton. This are the moments of success that he does have in this fight, but it's hard really to give him any more than a round, if that, as we enter the 8th.
I'm really enjoying the movement and the boxing from Willis, who's doing the right thing against the bigger puncher. Like I say, would like to see him move back to the centre of the ring a bit more, and when he does get there, let his hands go. But generally, the movement and the shot picking from Willis has been spot on.
Willis just stepping off and parrying the leads of Charlton. He's aiming for the torso now. Sensible tactic from the man who's been headhunting for so much of this contest. Wings in a long looping left again. Willis just trying to control things with the lead hand. Left straight down the middle. So adept at changing direction, as you mentioned earlier. Comfortable moving right and left, and just normally have a favoured side, but he seems to be able to step off with ease, right or left, and that makes him unpredictable in terms of pinning him down, blocking him off, and trying to push him onto a preferred side. He doesn't really have a preferred side.
At the end, it's really made it difficult for Charlton to land the shots, because he just doesn't know where he's going to exit. Willis landed a couple of good uppercuts, the right and the left, early on in this round, looking for it again as Charlton does carry his head low when he's moving forward. Got to be careful though when he throws that shot, Willis, that the chin doesn't come high. It's always it's a problem when you do throw the uppercut. You can, as you're coming back up with a shot, your chin can naturally follow the fist. Good shot on the back foot from Willis. With a backhand there.
Charlton trying to step across him, but Willis beautifully exits on an uppercut and then a lead hook.
That was nice from Willis there. A little pivot, spin off after two beautiful shots, the uppercut and the straight left hand.
And the discipline to not get greedy as well, Darren, when he's had plenty of measured success, to always stick to the game plan, ones and twos, and then change the angle, force Charlton to reset, is admirable, given that he's been in control for the vast majority of the contest, gets himself back to centre ring.
He has no interest of throwing shots when he gets to centre ring. It's funny, he'd rather do it on the back foot. He has an opportunity there to sort of stop Charlton in his tracks, but he has no interest. He'd rather just get on his bike, let Charlton fall over his front foot and then come back with the counters. Good left hand to the body there from Willis, followed by a left hook to the head.
Just holds and turns Charlton, gets his back to the ropes and steps off again. 30 seconds to go in the 8th here in Liverpool. Now just half an hour away from the main card starting on the zone around the world. Kieran Conway and JJ Metcalf will open the show. Charlton tries to get close, pins his man to the ropes, digs away to the body, but good work from Willis, just tying him up.
So marking to the left eye of Charlton now, who just gets caught with a lovely jab. Got to start working the body. Charlton, he's got to close the gap. He's running out of rounds now. He needs a massive finish now, Chris. Really, really does. If he wants any chance of winning this contest.
Just wonder when he watches this contest back, Rylan Charlton, whether he will rue not aiming for the body with that left hook. The number of times that Willis has exited on the lead right. And Charlton has swung and missed upstairs. We saw that against Billy Joe Saunders with Canelo Alvarez. Didn't even bother to aim for the head for the first 3 rounds. Just ripped the body wide with the left hook. Took a little bit of sting out of his man early. And then we all saw how it finished. But Charlton hasn't really aimed for the body early. Head-hunted a bit too much, loaded up, and, well, hasn't taken the legs of Luke Willis away. And he doesn't look quite as fleet-footed as he did in the first round, but he doesn't look far off it. And he's moved constantly for these last 9 rounds.
Yeah, lots and lots of movement, intelligent movement as well, both ways, backwards, side to side. Made it so difficult for Charlton, who has tried, but then when Willis has been caught, he's had a really good knack of just tying up his man and stopping Charlton from working.
Nick as the heads come together. Yeah, I think maybe just been a little head clash, just caused some blood from the nose on the bridge of the nose of Luke Willis. Charlton thumps into the body with the right hand, but just smothering his own work.
Needs a grandstand finish here, doesn't he, Charlton? He's got to let his hands go. Can't be wild, but does need to let them go. Needs to work to the body first. That's never going to work against Willis. He's got to set traps. He's got to work to the body first, then work upstairs. Willis finding another good, straight, snappy left hand there as Charlton walks forward.
It's been a masterclass in balance, timing, shot selection and distance control from Luke Willis against a very physical, very strong Rylan Charlton, who we know can punch. And he lands a left hand there. It's just been too few and far between as the heads come together for the second time in the round, and Willis just looks to Steve Gray there. I think there was anything in that, really.
No, it's just the force that Charlton's coming in, and when he's letting his hands go, he's sort of leaving his head there. Doesn't mean to do it, but they've come together a couple of times. The credits and testament to the conditioning of Willis, who literally has not stopped moving for this whole contest. Got to be careful there. We're looking to hold on to Charlton, but sort of coming over his front foot. If Charlton would have landed the uppercut there, it could have been in a bit of trouble there, but back on the bike goes Willis. Charlton trying to work the body there. Just too slow with his feet to sort of try and close that gap.
again, the check right hook and exit from Luke Willis. Beautiful balance, leads with a rear uppercut that time. I don't think he's ever really hurt Rylan Charlton. He hasn't put his hands together in big enough bunches to put a dent in him, but he has frustrated him. He has had the better of well over 90% of the exchanges as we near the end of this round. And he can feel this fight slipping away from him, just sense it in his body language, in the way he's moving, in the way he's reaching for shots, looking for a Hail Mary that he's more than capable of landing, but against someone this slippery, this adept, with this balance and discipline, it's looking more and more unlikely as this contest draws on. End of the ninth.
Well, another round where the Matador has been able to keep the ball at bay, keep him missing. Lots of movement, left and right, backwards. See the eagerness from Charlton, really trying to force himself on to Willis, but loading up far too much. And when I say he's got to let his hands go, it's got to be done with some education and composure. It's got to be working to the body first and then working upstairs. You can't just be loading up with a single shot against someone like Willis, who that's exactly what he looks for in his opponents. That's what he's hoping his opponents will do, so he can come back with his quick counter shots. He needs a massive finish. He really does, Charlton.
Well, a lot of fighters at this kind of level have a style that you describe as their kryptonite. This really is just it for Rylan Charlton, but he's a bull and he's going to press forward and he's going to try and put Luke Willis under pressure, because he knows if he doesn't, this fight will slip away from him. And he is punching forward here. Willis on the ropes, uppercut through the middle, got his foot, as you said, just in between the third and the fourth rope there. And you just wonder whether Charlton should have set this kind of pace early on in the contest, really made it roughhouse, really dragged him into deep waters. But he hasn't done so, but he's got 2.5 minutes in which to try. Willis just trying to regain his composure and balance, but Charlton stepping on him now.
You know, you ask yourself the question, why has Charlton left it so late to really force himself onto Willis? You know, it's the last round now, he's way down on the cards, and point off here for Willis. A point off for holding there. They were shouting, Frank Santornis in the corner of Charlton, that Willis was holding, but I hadn't seen any previous sort of warnings beforehand.
Well, the adrenaline will be flowing for both fighters, because Luke Willis will know what Charlton is looking for. And Charlton has got absolutely nothing to lose at this stage, because he knows as he stands and as Luke Willis remains on his feet, he has lost the fight, and it's up to him to try and change that. Steve Gray just gets in the middle of them. Again, just over 1 minute 30 in the 10th and final round. Willis just a little bit flat for the first time in the contest, as the adrenaline just sucked a little bit of the energy out of those fleet-footed legs. Just bounces his way back to the corner, tries to exit again off that right hook. Charlton doesn't let him, rips away to the body, thudding those shots into the ribs, and Willis feeling them, hangs on again. Well, you asked for a grandstand finish, Darren. That's exactly what Rylan Charlton is trying to deliver here. And it's maybe the first or second round of the contest that he's won so far. He may rue, as you say, not turning the screw a little bit earlier, but he's doing so now. 50 seconds on the clock. Willis backed into that corner, trying to find some space and time to move. Thumps in a left uppercut.
Yeah, he's going to get the 10-8 round here, Charlton, but is that going to be enough? I don't think so. He needs the finish. He needs to try and stop or knock out Willis, who is really under pressure now.
Stabs to the body with the lead hand.
Oh,
left hook upstairs. Straight left upstairs. Charlton digging away, left hand to the body. Steve Gray warning him for leading with the head, but I think he's leading with everything he can now. Rylan Charlton. Oh, pushes into a short shot there from Willis, who just finds an exit, finds some space, and finds the final bell. What a final round to put a punctuation mark on what was an excellent display of distance control, punch picking and movement from Luke Willis. Rylan Charlton didn't stop trying, really put his foot down and went into fifth gear for a full 3 minutes in that 10th. But, well, unless the judges are seeing something dramatically different, and I don't see how they can, this is going to be wide to the Merseyside.
Yeah, the Matador successful on my card. Picked some shots well, got the point off for holding in the last round, and I was calling for Charlton to let his hands go and work a bit more. He's left it far too late for me.
Some effort though in that 10th.
It was. We wanted to see it, and he gave it everything. He's trying a bit of kidology there from Charlton.
I guess the conundrum he's in is that if he'd have tried to put his foot down in that manner in the 5th or the 6th round, he wouldn't have had anything left at this stage of the contest, Rylan Charlton. He had to kind of really wait until he knew the finish line was in sight, but by then, as you say, it was too late, then it was high risk from him. But, well, the styles were the main talking point in the build-up. They proved to be the difference between the competitors on the night, and we expect to see it reflected in the scorecard. Steve Gray had his work cut out for him at points in there as well. He had to be on the move because there was a lot of action.
It was. There was an awful lot of movement from Willis. Credit to Charlton, he tried, he just couldn't close that gap nearly enough. Very, very impressive foot movement, shot picking, especially with that left hand, straight down the middle. Worked the jab really well, head and body, a good disciplined display. It's just a nightmare, the worst style for Rylan Charlton. He wants someone who's going to be in front of you so you can work away and let the shots go. And we see, look, the pattern of the fight was the same all the way through. It was just Willis moving and picking the shots really well, especially with that backhand, like I say, the left straight down the middle. As the fight started going on, he started to try and look for the uppercuts as Charlton started to fall over the front foot. Too wild at times. Charlton with the single shots, didn't really set any traps whatsoever. But then the massive finish from Charlton really forced himself onto Willis, who did have success with that backhand. Good contest, I enjoyed it.
Well, the fighters are with Steve Gray at centering. David Diamante has the scores. He's just double checking them. And we'll head over to him now. He's ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds here in Liverpool, we go to the judges' score totals. Michael Alexander, 95-95 even. Phil Edwards, 95-94. Howard Foster, 95-94. Both for your winner by majority decision. And the winner of the English lightweight title eliminator, he's still undefeated from Liverpool, England, Luke Willis.
Well, I know what you'll all be doing right now, logging on to Twitter to register your opinions about those scorecards, because the right man has won. But, I mean, you talked to me about that. One judge has seen it even there, two have seen it with 1 point to Luke Willis in a fight that you and I felt he won probably 9 of the 10 rounds.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of rounds there that I have to go back on my scorecard and add it up. A couple of rounds that you could have given Charlton, then